Hello everybody, the picturesque hills of Spielberg play host to round 6 of the PSGL Season 30 F7 Championship here at the Red Bull Ring. Good evening ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jake Warrior. I am delighted to be back in the commentary box and guiding you through tonight's action. Just before we get started, we shouldn't be a minute or two before we are underway. And if you don't already, and you are potentially interested in either driving in PSGL or keeping up to date with the latest news and everything to do with PSGL, particularly from the top PC and PlayStation tiers, be sure to follow Premier Sim Gaming Leagues on Twitter at PremierSimGL, and also there is a Discord that you can join as well if you're interested in driving. But we've got a full grid tonight, which is absolutely fantastic to see. A couple of reserves are stepping in, and we'll go through that more as we get into qualifying. And then of course we have 36 laps ahead of us here at the Red Bull Ring, a very famous track which has hosted a number of races in recent years, in particularly the first two races in what was a COVID hit 2020 F1 season. Quite a simple track in terms of its layout, but yet there are still plenty of challenges awaiting the drivers around this 10-turn circuit. 2.68 miles. It is one of the shortest tracks on the calendar. There are three left turns and 7 right turns, with a 19-second pit loss time, and a lap record here, in real life anyway, at the very least, was set by Carlos Sainz in 2020 at 105.6. Although I expect to see quicker times than that tonight, unless of course we have some different weather knocking about, and then you never know exactly what could happen in terms of that. We'll quickly go through the championship standings. I'm fully aware that the F7 League up to now has only had 2 streams. That was for the opening round at Portugal and round 4 at France. So for that reason, it's important to try and update everyone on what the current championship positions are, seeing as we are now at round 6 of 15. So you can see there Smalley, who drives a McLaren. He's currently leading a championship on 54 points. He's got a 13-point lead at the moment over Taze Leroy, who is second. Then we've got Wrench in third in the Red Bull. Luca is fourth in the Haas. Russell fifth in the Alpha Tauri, with her 16 Rod completing a top 6. And after that, really, you're looking sort of towards drivers who have yet really to pick up too many good results, to the exception of Raggi in the Williams, who actually won last time out, but that was his first points of the season, so therefore that's why he's not too high up the championship order at the moment. Looks pretty dry at the moment. Overcast, though, it has to be said, a bit gloomy. Almost looks like a British spring or summer morning, if you're to ask me. But we've got drivers out on the track, so let's quickly see how they'll get on. You can see there that I think McLaren, the championship leader, looks like he's the first driver out on the track, so we'll follow him round. Out on the medium compound tyre. So looking just to get a sighter in at the moment. I actually caught a quick look as to what happened at the opening round, and from what I saw, this is a tactic that he tends to do early on in qualifying. He likes to use the medium tyre just to get a feel for conditions, get a sighting lap in, and then really go for it later on as the clock ticks down. Of course, we still have 16 minutes remaining. So through Rint corner at turn 9, and soon he will begin his opening flying lap of the session then. And the championship leader is the first one really to show us what he is made of here as we head down towards Niki Lauda curve at turn 1. Clips the apex nicely, runs it out as far as he can go. Of course, track limits is a big deal around here, particularly around the final couple of corners, and that is something that the PSGL stewards are keeping a very close eye on. Turns 9 and 10, drivers have been warned not to extend the exit curve of those 2 corners too much, or they may be penalised. But no issues so far for Smalley, who heads down towards turn 3. And yeah, looking a fairly smooth lap so far. Bit of oversteer on exit as he tried to pick up the throttle. And now towards the most technical part of the lap, the left-hand turns of 5 and 6. And yeah, pretty decent lap so far, but of course this won't be a pole position lap time just due to the tyres he's on. And he ran a little bit too wide there on the exit, and his lap is invalidated. So we shall have a look instead at Sharky, who's just coming up to the final sector himself in the Ferrari. Been overshadowed so far by his teammate in regards to points won, but we're still relatively early days in the season, so that can all change as Sharky comes around the final corner to set our opening lap time. It's a 1:03.7. And let's have a look at the race winner from last time out at Hungary. And that is Raggy, looking to build on that after what was a frustrating and disappointing start to the season for him. But last time out, very much the sort of form he'll want to replicate here. And we'll see if he's taken that confidence from last week into this opening. Expect lap times to be super close throughout the field here, just due to the short nature of this circuit. Although the first 4 times I've kind of threw that one out the window. Only Sharky setting a representative pace thus far. And Raggy comes up now towards turn 9, the penultimate corner of the circuit. And important not to run too wide here or your lap time will get invalidated. So we'll see what he does, but it looks all pretty smooth so far. Sharky's still on top for now, but no, not anymore. Raggy sets the pace. Very, very little time in it, just 27 thousandths of a second separating the front two at the moment. And Smalley doing a very impressive 1:03.8 on the medium tyres, currently sat in 4th place. And now Luca sets the benchmark. He's gone quickest of all. Let's follow Ramazan, who's just started his lap in the AlphaTauri. His season so far, I would say a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. He scored points in all the first 4 rounds of the season. Not major points, his best result being a 5th place at the opening round. But he did score points all the way up until last week, where he had his first DNF of the season. So he'll be looking to get that race out of his memory and get back into the points positions, which he's clearly capable of doing on a consistent basis. Then as we go flick it into the left-hander, he's got a bit of traffic in front of him. That's Raggy returning to the pits. He will use Raggy for a bit of a slipstream there, a bit of a cheeky one. But in now to turn 9, Rint corner. And through turn 10, using as much curb as he can get away with. What's Ramazan going to do for a lap time? It's a 1:04.0. It's good enough to get him just inside the top 10 at the moment. But he might be hoping for a little bit better as we go through the session. Alberto Ver is starting his lap. In fact, he's just finished his lap rather. And he goes up into 5th on a 1:03.7 as Luca sets the pace at the moment, and that is a 1:03.7 that he's done on the medium compound tyre, so that's very impressive indeed. Very early on that lap times will be close around here, and look at that, just 76 thousandths of a second separating the top 5 at the moment. But there's a real mix, to be fair, of strategies in terms of the tyres that the drivers are going for, so it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out, as we've got Mosey in the Alfa Romeo on his next lap, so interesting to see how he does. In terms, just checking the chat quickly, make sure that everything's running as it should be. My first stream in quite a while, so make sure it's all running as it should. And Mosey, there we go, that's a bit more like the sort of pace you'd expect to see from the soft tyre runners. He does a 1:03.5 to move 2 tenths clear at the top. We've got Zaki, and ooh, that was a very unusual place. I think he was getting out of the way of a car there, but it was an unusual place to see a car on the exit. He managed to achieve that as Zach goes 11th quickest, just outside the top 10. A quick mention about the constructor standings coming into this. To be honest with you, it's very much one driver in a team that's dragging the points total along at the moment when you look at the top sort of 4 or 5 teams. So it is McLaren leading the way, mainly thanks to Smalley's points tally. Zach himself has only scored 9 points thus far, so he'll be looking to contribute more towards that constructor's effort. For anyone who hasn't regularly tuned into F7, obviously we've only had a couple of streams in the opening 6 rounds. It's worth to point out that this is the top PSGL PlayStation tier that uses only the racing line assist. Oh, and that was incredibly odd. Bo going down towards the right-hander, and then his car all of a sudden just stopped. That was incredibly bizarre. Don't know what that was all about, but yeah, that's definitely put pay to his first hot lap. Let's go follow Sharky then around his last few corners, get a bit of a better view of this amazing Spielberg track, and he runs too wide through the last corner, which is a shame because he had done a lap that was good enough to put him on the front row provisionally, but just a bit too greedy on the exit curb. And for now, that's cost him a sick ball. He's already invalidated his lap time for the end of Sector 1, which would lead me to think that he just ran a bit too wide through the opening turn. Everyone now switching to the soft tyre. I can see after some early runs on mediums. Let's go on board with Tunetank. He was a little bit up on his first sector time, currently in 14th. Alfa Romeo sat in 9th in the Constructors, and Tunetank and Mosey have only got 6 points to their name each. You wouldn't guess so, looking at Mosey's early pace, so definitely some more potential for these Alfa Romeo drivers, and they'll be looking to kind of try and show that this evening. As Tunetank goes round the left-hander, and looking pretty solid. This actually looks like a pretty decent middle sector. It is indeed. He's found a couple of attempts. He's got to be careful of that curve. We saw a driver earlier on invalidate through there, so it's easily done. And now a penultimate turn. Really got to flick it in. Take as much speed as you can without going through track limits. And I was just about to say, he's again just taking a bit too much curve at the end of the lap. It would have been good enough for P9, but instead it is not what he wanted. And Smalley on his first lap on, but he's also invalidated. I was about to say on his first lap on the soft tyres, but he has invalidated. Luca is on a lap, but Raggy's a bit closer to the end of it, so we'll follow him round, see what he's up to. Doesn't look... it's about similar to what he did in his previous attempt, so... And now he's invalidated as well. Probably realised he was a bit down and just trying to find a bit of extra pace there that just wasn't quite going to work through that turn. Wrench has just started his lap, so let's follow him round for a lap. His teammate's actually not here tonight. In fact, I believe his teammate has missed quite a few races now. So yeah, it's his 4th race that he's missed in a row, so Wrench could really do with some support from his teammate. He has got obviously a driver in the Red Bull tonight with him. That's PC Willie, I believe that says. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, he's a reserve who's filling in that Red Bull tonight. We've got a couple of other reserves as well. Monte is in the Williams replacing Josh Sidney, and we've also got Bo in the Aston Martin replacing Kev. And a little bit of late news as well is that Mr. BT in the Alpine is a now permanent replacement for Louis Rox in the Alpine, so that's a permanent change for the rest of the season. Louis Rox decided to give up his seat and switch down to a reserve. Maybe we'll see him on the grid in a future race. But Wrench around the final corner then, and he goes up to 2nd place. Dispatches the Haas of Alberto from the front row of the grid, who had gone there just now, but you'll see what Luca can do. He had a very quick lap time on mediums earlier, so I'm interested to see what he can do now he's put what in theory should be the quicker compound of tyre on. Of course, Haas not having the best of times in real life, but looking pretty good in this qualifying session so far. Up both drivers in the top 5 as Leroy now goes up to 2nd place. Still no one able to touch Mosey's time, and Luca pulls into the pits as Zach goes 7th. Just trying to find out who is on a lap at the moment. It's like everyone's just sort of warming up to a lap potentially. I think Ramazan has just started one, but he's already invalidated, which is a big blow for him. Not what he would have wanted. I'm going to go back on board with the championship leader, because he's just started his lap. Smalley up towards... Oh, Nicky allowed a curve, and the car just snapped on turn in, and that will affect his run all the way up this hill. I can't imagine this is going to be a particularly great opening sector, and it's not even a personal best on what he did on the mediums. He should be able to find more time around the rest of the lap, but there's definitely a couple of tenths more in that car than what this lap will provide. And we'll just see now, of course, hopefully he doesn't start overdriving the car. It's easy to do once you've made one error on the lap, just look for time that isn't there and lose out on more speed. But looks pretty much more stable for his middle part of the lap, and his middle sector definitely demonstrates that. So this is going to be an improvement, providing he gets this end to the lap right. He's had a really good season so far, hence why he is the one to beat coming into this round. I'll go through how his season's been so far in a second, but here he goes around the final corner, and Smalley goes up to 5th, and I tell you what, with that mistake that he had at turn 1, that's not too bad, are they? That's not too bad of a lap at all. So, nice one from Smalley, up into 5th place. Yeah, in terms of his season so far, 54 points to his name. He's had 2 wins, consecutive races at Monaco and France. He had a podium at the opening round in Portugal, and even his worst result so far is a 7th place that he got at Silverstone. So he's yet to miss out on the points all season as Raggy goes up to provisional pole position. A 1:03.4 now. We are getting down to the nitty gritty of this qualifying session. 4.5 minutes to go. Twosome, I think, has just finished a lap, so we'll go on board with Mr. BT, the new permanent driver in F7. Oh, and that's off the track and just struggled to pick up traction, and that is his lap ruined. His teammates invalidated as well. Just trying to find somebody who's on a lap, and Bo looks like that one. Currently 20th, so he can only improve from where he's at now. Like I said, this tier uses racing line assist only. All the tiers above that and on the PlayStation side of PSGL are completely no assists. Maybe some of these drivers are looking at running no assists in maybe on the next game, and this is just good practice to see what they're like pace wise. Bo moves up to 18th, and only a couple of positions gained now. He'll be hoping he can potentially do a bit more than that. Luca starts his latest run. Both Hassers deep inside the top 10, but Luca will feel like there's more time in there because I'm still fairly certain he set that lap on mediums. So there should be more pace in there. How's his first sector looking? It's a 10th quicker, and that's a very good first sector indeed. It says purple. I don't know if that means it is purple or not. Sometimes this game likes to lie to you, but to be fair, it looks very, very good for a first sector time. Definitely one of the quickest I've seen so far. Luca currently 4th in the championship. He's had 1 win at Silverstone, but kind of struggled for consistency outside of that. But the pace is there, and look at that middle sector. Okay, this is definitely looking good to potentially go to provisional pole. This is a fantastic lap so far, but he's invalidated it again on the exit of 8. Oh, and that will be gutting because he will know just what a good lap that was. Mosey's also invalidated. You can see I mentioned track limits being an issue earlier. It's not just at turns 9 and 10, it's all around the track. These drivers pushing it to the limit. Expect corner cutting penalties during the race to be a key feature of how this race pans out, particularly if there's a late safety car. That will make the amount of penalties the drivers got even more crucial. A sick boy comes round at the final corner in the Mercedes, currently just outside the top 10. Is this going to be enough to put him inside the top 10? Yes, it is. Up to P8 provisionally. It's a nice lap. Oh, and then wow, that was after his flying lap. He then loses it round turn 1. Maybe a loss of concentration, maybe going for another flying lap, who knows. But yeah, that was a huge moment for him there. Ramazan also on a good lap here. Round turn 10 he goes. And Ramazan goes up to 6th, firmly inside the top 10. He'll be pretty happy with that, I suspect. Leroy already invalidated as Luca. There we go. He went for another lap, and Luca finds a lap time that we could see from the previous attempt was in there. And it is a 1:03.299 to take a 2/10 lead at the top of the field, which is very impressive indeed, given how short this lap is and how tight the grids usually are. Monte, I think he invalidated his previous attempt. It was an improvement, but not going to be enough. Mr. BT is now on a lap, I believe. We'll follow him round. We are coming towards the conclusion of qualifying now. Everybody, all 20 drivers out on the track, desperate to try and find a bit more pace. And let's follow the driver that currently needs to find more pace than anyone. That's her 16 Rod. It's worth noting as well that coming into this round, he does have a 5-second penalty that will be added to his race time due to an incident at the last race where he apparently drove quite unsafely when he had wing damage and got in a few drivers' way while trying to make it back to the pit. So for that reason, he's got a 5-second penalty that's going to be added to his race time here. So he's already up against it, and now he's invalidated as well. I thought he took a bit too much curb on the outside, and oh dear, and a bit of sense a bit of frustration getting released there as Mr. BT goes 4th quickest. That's a great effort from him, going on to the 2nd row. Ramazan and Smalley's sessions are done, so the championship leader will start at best P9. And Raggy, well, is going to come up to the line now. His teammate was having some issues. He improves in time, but not position. Is that Leroy coming across the line? No, it's Sharky, and he stays where he is. Wrench is not doing anything. Zach coming round the final sector now. He's currently in P11. He's marginally up on his time, but you can make up some time around these last few corners. Potentially, you can see Twosome just goes up to 10th, just in front of him. Zach goes up to 9th, goes just in front of his teammate, who is now clinging to his place in the top 10. Is there anyone who can knock him out? It's PC Willie. Sadly for him, invalidates his lap. Russell did a quick lap, but it was obviously a corner cut at some stage of the lap, so he stays down in 19th, and that's going to be bitterly disappointing for him. And I think that's pretty much everyone who could improve. And so there you go then. Pole position goes to Luca with a fantastic effort. Leroy, I think, just moved up to 2nd at the last as well. A 10th behind Luca, but it's a very good pole position lap time. And to be fair, we've got Luca and Leroy, 2 of Smalley's nearest championship contenders, on the front row of the grid. I don't think he'll particularly like the look of that, given that he's starting 10th as well, so he can't even run the alternative strategy if he wanted to. So there's your grid then. We've got Luca on pole, Leroy 2nd, Raggy 3rd, Mosey 4th, Mr. BT completing the top 5. Wrench, Alberto there, Ramazan, Zach, Smalley completing the top 10, and then further down we've got Twosome, Sick Boy, Harmon, Sharky, Baz Bramer, Monty and Russell, 2 of the drivers towards the back, actually set their quickest lap times on the medium tyre, but that won't matter because they're outside the top 10. And her 16 Rod surprisingly starting down in 20th, given that he's actually had a pretty okay season up to now. Like, he hasn't up in 6th in the championship, he's with a podium to his name as well, so a little bit surprising that his qualifying went in that direction. Again, conditions look pretty gloomy for the race, but it looks like dry is the order of the day. Remember, if you are enjoying the coverage tonight from not just this tier, but you know, all the other tiers that are currently taking place, we've got F2, F3, and F4, I believe, also happening right now. You know, give all the streams a like. There's a lot of commentators and drivers doing a fantastic job, as well as the people running PSGL, and yeah, a like goes a long way. And of course, if you're not subscribed already, do please subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot of tiers, a lot of action over the coming weeks, and you definitely don't want to miss out on any of that. That's for sure. We've got a top PS tier running from 8 o'clock this evening. But these 20 drivers won't care about that right now. They'll be focused on making sure that they're in the best condition to start this race. And the top 2 way ahead on this formation lap so far. Let's have a look at the tyres that those outside the top 10 have gone for. We've got a bit of a mix, to be fair. Most drivers, as I would expect, going for the medium tyre, at the exception of Sick Boy, Monty and Bo, who have opted to start on the soft tyre. In terms of a strategy around here, one stop is probably the way to go. Of course, safety cars and things like that can change the course of the strategy and things, but you can do a one-stopper here. You're probably taking soft tyres around 15 laps, and then mediums about 21. We'll be running them pretty close to the limit, but it's probably better than being more aggressive and running a 2-stopper. It'd be difficult to make back the 19 seconds you'd lose. That's in a conventional race, of course, with no safety cars. Of course, for his safety cars, the last thing you want is to be defending on old tyres, because you will be a sitting duck. Luca then getting close to the end of the formation lap. Obviously, it's a short lap around Austria. And these drivers then looking to impress and looking to get their seasons either keeping their form going, or maybe perhaps looking to get their season going if they've had a poor start. Luca leading them round, and Leroy on the front row as well. Raggy, last week's race winner, in third. We've got a lot of the big names of F7 towards the front of the grid. And then we've got a championship leader, Smalley, down in 10th with some work to do. It'll be interesting to see how his teammate is around him, given that they're starting together on the 5th row of the grid. Just waiting for the drivers to line up. There's a few towards the back, but it's taking a bit of a while to get there, it has to be said. But we're all set and ready to go. The lights are coming on for the drivers. And when they go out, let action begin here at round 6 at the Red Bull Ring. Oh, we got a drive-through penalty for a jump start for Tucson, but we're underway. Luca had an excellent start. He's already leaving the Ferrari for dead behind him. Meanwhile, side by side between Raggy and Mosey, and I think Raggy got a bit of a touch. There's a few cars running wide, probably not used to the grip levels that they've got down at the start, and obviously heavy fuel, but Luca leads away. And behind him, Mr. BT making positions up to 4th after Raggy's issue at turn 1. Down very late on the brakes. It's easy to get a bit of a front wing chopped off here if you run a bit too deep. But it all looks pretty good so far. Mr. BT still alongside Mosey, and in fact has got a position. Excellent start from the Alpine driver. Looks like there's issues for Zach and Ramazan further down the order. But yeah, very nice for Mr. BT up to 3rd. Luca got the ideal start there as Raggy struggles at the start and has now lost another position to Renge. So after starting 3rd, last week's race winner already down to 6th. Wonder if he got a bit of a tap on the rear, or if it was just maybe a loss of downforce. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, Luca leads away at the end of lap 1. As you can see, looking at Raggy fighting back against Reg side by side through Rink Corner at turn 9. This is brave stuff from the two of them. And there's contact, and Reg goes off the road and spins. Oh, he lost all sorts of grip there, and it's a good job that his car ghosted because it came launching back onto the circuit. And Rensch's good start undone there. Contact between him and Raggy. It was always going to be risky running side by side through those corners, and Raggy's gone now as well. Raggy has gone round, so his hard work undone as well. An issue. Maybe you let Wrench back through, I don't know, but either way, that's them back towards the rear of the field now, and Alberto taking advantage up to 5th, Smalley up to 6th, and Harmon on those medium tyres already up to 7th for Aston Martin. So that's a great start by those two. Let's just have a quick look further back. It looks like Sharky's potentially looking at making a move on Baz Bremer, but thinks better of it. Baz Bremer runs a bit wide, but there isn't really an opportunity to make a move there. Wrench trying to make his way back through the field has made a move on Bo. Although it looks like Bo might have an issue, and oh, Sharky's into the wall without a front wing. He's lost his front wing. He's going to have to go to the pits. This is such a really awkward pit entry as well. Oh, and he's slowing right down, I think, just to make sure he gets out of everyone's way. That's respectful driving from Sharky, but lost his front wing, and that's a real blow for him as Leroy tries to put the pressure on the Haas in front. Got a bit squirrely out of turn 1. Will remove any opportunity to make a move just yet. The DRS is powerful, but not powerful enough. As we've got Alberto there, and Mosey Sharky's retired in the pit lane. Decided he's had enough of these proceedings today and has decided to call it a day. The top 3 already building a little bit of an advantage there as Smalley looks potentially for a move on Mosey, but no way through right now. Let's have a look at position changed from the start. Yeah, so no change at the top 2, but big gains. Looking at Harmon up 6 places, Russell up 9 places from 19th all the way up to 10th place, and mentioned Mr. BT and Alberto there. They made great starts as well. Mosey, the only one really in the top 13 to lose a position, so but still very much in contention, so I don't think he'll mind too much about that. Baz Bremer has a penalty, and let's ride on board with Leroy because it looks like he's potentially in a position to attack here as Mosey loses a load of places. I don't know what that's all about. He's going very slowly, it looks like, down the pitch straight. Has he had a spin or is he recovering? I'm not too sure on that one. Oh, and we've got a big issue. We see issues happening further down the grid. Monte and Baz Bremer have come together. That's what's happened there. There's been a collision further down the field. And not at all what they needed. Let's go back with a leading group though. Alberto there's really closed up on these front 3. There was a bit of a gap forming, but he set the fastest lap last time around and really piling on the pressure now on these front 3. And Sick Boy is one driver who might want to make a move just purely because Harmon right now is on the slightly slower tyres, so he may feel like he's been held up a little bit here by the Aston Martin driver. Sick Boy looking very ominous behind him, but it just can't quite get alongside for turn 9. Mr. BT already with a penalty. And that's what I was going to say, like, penalties are going to play such a huge part here. Expect many drivers to have penalties by the end of this race, as Russell does the fastest lap on the medium tyres. He's absolutely flying. Up to 8th place now, gained 11 places from the start, and he is charging his way through the field. And when these soft tyres start to give up, he's in a handy position. He's effectively the second driver on the road on the alternate strategy right now. As we've got a move down the inside of 2. Ooh, bit of contact there, Mosey into the back of PC Willie. But a nice move there, and Mosey dropping down the field after an earlier issue, which I didn't quite catch. I don't really know. It looks like he was just going slowly down the straight. Be interested to know the reason for that. But a shame, because he had such a good qualifying and was still running in the top 5 until that issue. It's still Luca leading the way at the moment, but Alberto there is looking like the one who wants to start getting a move on with things. He's looking ominous behind Mr. BT. The 2 Haas cars running very nicely at the moment. And Mr. BT may already be a bit worried, because when you get a penalty early on, it can almost set you up for the race. And we've got a driver, Bas Bremer, further down the field, who's gone for a spin. But absolutely, it can undoubtedly affect your confidence. And once you've got one penalty, it's easy to just play it a bit on the side of caution, for worry of getting another one, as Leroy right up behind Luca. Oh, and Luca runs a bit wide there, and that's going to give the Ferrari driver all the incentive he needs on the run down towards turn 4. This is going to be a brave move indeed. Up the inside, I don't think there's much Luca can do. I think once he went wide of the last corner, he's coming back. The Ferrari driver ran a bit deep into the corner, and now they're running side by side, the 2 of them. Who's going to be braver? Leroy has the inside line, which is the one you'd prefer to have, and he's made that work for him and takes the lead of the race on lap 6. So Luca's staunch defence of his lead has come to an end. It all started at turn 2, just went a bit deep into the corner, and that gave Leroy the incentive he needed to take the lead of a race. It's just like he's getting so close to the front now, though. You can see, looking at the top 7, all so far ahead of everyone else, and this is working really nicely for Harmon on those mediums, that he can keep up with the soft tyre runners at this stage of proceedings. Oh, well, I say that. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Harmon. That's my first commentary curse being back in the box. Oh dear, and obviously tyres, bit of dirt on them, and just couldn't quite get the power down as he expected. And oh, just as I was saying, he was in such a good position. That's exactly what happens. I hope for my sake he doesn't watch the stream back. He may accuse me of cursing him there. Oh, and there's a bit of contact there. Mr. BT trying to force his way through on Luca. Is there any space for him to get this done? No, not quite. He's going to have to back off for now. Raggy in the pits. He's another one who had a good qualifying, but it's just his race has been slightly undone by various dramas. Oh, we've got a... Oh, what's happened here? Alberto Vera's had an issue, it looks like, and yeah, he's going to have to pit. So, what's happened there to Alberto Vera, I wonder? He was right there in that leading group, and he suddenly dropped down. He must have some front wing damage. I'm guessing we're going to see a front wing change here at this pit stop. Yep. That's a real shame for Alberto, and not what Haas would have wanted. Oh, and look at that! Oh, deep on the brakes there. Smallvey trying to get a look in as BT trying to force a move on Luca. Smalley just watching with interest, and he's just quietly kept away from some of the carnage that has gone on and has quietly worked his way up into a very good position. And maybe that's why he's doing so well in the championship, because he knows how to stay out of trouble. And Harmon has decided to call it a day in the pit lane, and yeah. Like I said, I hope he doesn't click onto a stream and listen back to what I said about 2 seconds before his race all went wrong, because yeah, it very much felt like a commentator's curse on that one. Smalley then round the last couple of corners, hounding the back of that Alpine. These top 4 drivers just building away. Sick Boy and Russell having a bit of a battle for behind. Looks like Russell may have got a penalty, which he'll be a bit gutted about, considering that he's doing a pretty good job on the alternate strategy at the moment. Speaking of that, we're going to go on board with Russell, because it looks like he's in a good position here to attack Sick Boy down the inside potentially. outbrakes the AlphaTauri driver. Can he get it? Oh, sorry, the Mercedes driver, rather. Can he get it stopped? Oh, and he loses a back end on exit in his attempt to get on the power before Sick Boy. He got too much throttle on, bit of oversteer, and he's basically going to have to do that work all over again. Let's go back to this battle at the front, this 4-car train at the front. I don't think Luca's holding him up. I think it's just the fact that they're all very similar, matched on pace. Just means nobody can really pull away. Oh, that one didn't look like a particularly good line there for the Oh, and Leroy! Leroy had a huge moment behind, and it doesn't look like he's got damage. I think he just had oversteer. By the looks of it, yeah, he's absolutely fine. He's just lost a couple of places and lost some momentum, but that could have been so much worse for him there. And that may give Luca the breathing space that he needed, because now essentially he's nearly got Mr. BT out of DRS range. Oh, but Mr. BT still gets the DRS. What can Smalley do behind? Going to go back to Russell, who looks like he's going to try once again to get past Sick Boy. He'll be hoping it's a much more successful attempt than it was last time, and it looks like it was. Although Sick Boy will have the DRS now, potentially to try and fight back on the AlphaTauri, but doesn't really look like he's that interested in doing so. Russell up to 5th, probably recognises at this stage keeping close to Russell might be a better tactic going forward in this race, because he clearly has some pace, potentially to catch up to those leading group of cars. Wrench and Mosey very close. This is a sort of second group of cars, if you will. Mosey and Wrench were higher up at the start of the race, but had a few dramas. But they're still very much in contention towards the front of the grid, so not too much harm done, really. I mean, you look at the gaps, really, until you get down to 12th, you don't really have a huge gap at the moment. And Luca hasn't been able to break away. Maybe he is just struggling a bit more for pace, and some of us around him, as Mosey has an issue. I hope for his sake he hasn't got damage, because he's just gone past the pits. Looks okay from what I can see. Monte's had an issue too. Oh, and he is going to have to do a full lap if he has got any damage. Smalley has gone up into 2nd place and is now challenging for the lead. I missed that overtake from Smalley on Mr. BT, but good stuff from our championship leader, and now he wants the lead of a race too. I wondered in qualifying, was it just a bit of an off performance, but he's really showing in race conditions. He is very, very good at working his way through the field, and the pace is clearly there, and he'll now try and put some pressure on Luca as we come now towards Rint Corner, turn 9, of course named after the world champion, who unfortunately died before he had a chance to find out he was champion, which is a real shame. Back in 1970, I believe. But Smalley now looking to make a move on Luca. That's a fantastic exit from turn 1. I don't think there's much for the Haas driver's going to be able to do about this, and there isn't. Smalley just making the overtake with DRS before they even get down to turn 2, and that's an easy move for Smalley, and now into the lead. Can Luca fight back? No, he can't, because he had a huge moment, and now he's going to find himself at prey to those behind him. Mr. BT's taken 2nd, and it looks like Leroy will be in a good position to take 3rd, and indeed he is. Luca, in his eagerness perhaps to get back at Smalley, loses the rear end of a car. Monty is out of the race, and that's in the pit lane now, so that will not be a safety car or anything like that. Oh, look how the race changed around, and now it's Smalley's turn. He's got almost got a 1 second lead here, although that has gone down. So I wonder, we are getting towards that stage where some drivers will probably thinking about pitting in the next couple of laps, so it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. Smalley still leads away. We've got yellow flag still in sector 1, but that's just the retired car of Monty. Going back to the pits, Luca trying to get back at the front 3. Of course, he was leading the race about a lap or 2 ago, but lost the lead to Smalley, and then had a huge snap of oversteer in his attempts to fight back, and that's why he finds himself down in 4th now. Russell and Sick Boy have caught up to this group, and that's what I said. Maybe Sick Boy thought it was best to just let Russell through and let him bring both a pair of them into play at the front, and that's exactly what's happened. It's now the front 6 with a couple of seconds margin back to her 16 Rod, who, to be fair to him, is now 7th after starting last on the grid. With PC Willie just behind him. We've got some drivers heading to the pits now, and this can be a bit dangerous. And you can see there, like, Russell couldn't get past Luca, really, until they got her mostly through turn 9, and that will have cost him some time. But Mr. BT and Luca pit at the end of lap 13. And they'll probably try and take the medium tyre now to the end of a race. A simple one-stop race this will be. And it'll be interesting to see if they can come out in some clear air potentially, or if they're going to come out in traffic. That's going to be key to their race, really. And it looks like there's Tusum and Alberto that are going to come out just where they are. Is that going to affect them? Doesn't look like it's going to affect Mr. BT. Looks like he's got out just in front. He has indeed, but Luca, oh, that's a disaster for him. He's going to go 3 wide, though. Wow, this is brave up to turn 2. And Luca trying to make his way past Alberto there. The teammates are on completely different strategies by the looks of things. But Alberto not keen to give that place up, but in the end he has no choice. Clearly, the two drivers working for themselves on that one, because Alberto didn't look like he wanted to give up the place. But Luca has made his way through, and they've got some nice clear air, this pair now, Mr. BT and Luca. They can try and put some good lap times in now as Smalley and Leroy respond in unison. And they come into the pits as well. So the undercut attempt, it'll be interesting to see if it's worked here for those two. But having that one lap fresher set of mediums could prove crucial as well. Let's find out. Smalley coming out the pits and Leroy just behind him. You can see Mr. BT and Luca coming down towards turn 1. Has the undercut worked? I tell you what, it looks like it has, you know. It really has. They're both in front of him. And worse for Smalley is he may come under pressure from Alberto. Now this is where he could do a great job for the team here and cause huge problems as Luca is going past Mr. BT further down the road. Luca is through into what is effectively the race lead right now. And making the move there, Smalley keeps ahead of Alberto. Leroy will want to take advantage. He will not want to be stuck behind this Haas for long. And he's quickly going down the inside and makes it stick. But yeah, just by staying out at 1 lap extra, you can see the difference it's made. But will that 1 lap fresher tyres come into play towards the end? We shall see. But effectively now it is Luca back in the lead after that moment he had earlier. I think he'll be quite happy with that. Sick Boy has stayed out a further lap, but now pits, as does Ramazan. And it's Vita does with the last 2 soft tyre runners to pit. They should come out just behind this group, as Leroy wants to try and put some pressure on the McLaren driver Smalley, who looks like he's just struggling to get some temperature into his tyres right now. Oh, look at that. He's got such a good... This is going to be such an easy move. He's just... I don't think there's much Smalley can do here. Nope, nothing at all. Leroy's made the move stick, and Smalley just maybe struggling for pace early on into this medium tyre stint, and Leroy already pulling away. Look at that. Look at the extra traction he had. That's incredible. There's nothing Smalley can do about that, and it might be wise for him to just stick behind for now. And as Leroy will try and chase down the leading pair of drivers. Effectively Luca leading this race, of course. And Smalley down to P4 after leading before the pit stops. It just shows how much A, the undercut, and B, how much he just might be struggling just to get his tyres in the right operating window. Alberto there sticking behind his pair. Of course, his medium tyres are only 7 laps old, so from that perspective, they won't really be struggling that much at the moment, which is why he's able to keep such close order with those cars behind. Let's follow Mr. BT, who's getting closer to Luca again. This is a great overhead shot here, as they're going to break down now towards difficult right-hander. Luca looking to make the move, but can't quite do it. Now down towards turn 4. Luca still to stick right. Look how close he got to the rear of that Haas car, but can't make it stick. Smalley getting close to the back of Leroy again. Maybe just took a few laps, but he now looks like he's in a rhythm with those medium compound tyres. So this could all close up again between these sort of 4, maybe even 5 drivers towards the front. Sick Boy with those newer medium tyres could come into play later on, but he does have a penalty. Those penalties are going to be crucial later on. There is no question about that. Let's go further back then. Leroy in the DRS range now of Mr. BT, so that should help him bring himself back into play. And I don't know, you almost get the sense here that the fastest two out of his leading sort of four cars, from 4th down to 7th, you almost get the feeling the fastest two drivers of them is the ones that are behind. Oh, again, Mr. BT getting ever so close. He's going to have a super run down to turn 4. Which way is Luca going to make him go? He gives him the inside line. That's very surprising, actually. He kind of gave that up a bit more than I thought he would. Mr. BT takes 4th place. And you can see, look at that, the Ferrari McLaren right there with him now. So this has very much become a four-way fight again. 4 different teams. And 4 drivers who've had very different races so far. And they're just going to try and... I mean, they're not worried about the 3 drivers in front of them. They're on very different strategies. Russell maybe could be a threat later on because he will go on to soft tyres. But you get the feeling he'll lose so much time now that it may not make too much of a difference. It depends, of course, if we have a safety car later on in the race. Here we go then. Leroy looks like he's the best placed driver to make a move. But what's helping Lucas is he's got DRS as well. And he's going to go down the inside. Luca making a move back on the Alpine driver through turn 3. That is brave stuff. And it looks like he's hung out. They're still alongside each other. Leroy's got a very good view of this and may make it 3 wide going down to turn 4. No, he can't. They're still going alongside each other. This is brave stuff around the outside. Mr. BT goes. And it looks like he's kept that place for now. He got that lead just a while ago. Zach has retired in the pits. Becomes our 5th retirement of proceedings. So we're down now to 15 drivers. But Mr. BT taking that place back. And all this fighting really isn't doing him a lot of good. Alberto's right there with him now as well. And you've got Sick Boy who will be looking to try and close up as this stint develops. Alberto gets another penalty. I believe that's his 2nd penalty of the race so far. Oh, Russell's out of the race. Russell is out of the race. It looks like he's lost it through turn 1 and we've got a safety car. So Russell was leading the race and he's... I don't know, has there been... I hope there's not been a collision with Zach's AI. That would be an absolute disaster if it has, but he looks like he's lost it through turn 1. And that's an end to his race. That's a real disappointment because he was looking in a good position on that alternate strategy. That's his 2nd DNF of the season. He DNF'd as well at Silverstone. That's a big blow. We have a safety car though. And to be fair, for these drivers that are out in the front, this is not a bad time to switch on soft tyres. A few laps behind the safety car will mean that these will go to the end from here. So, for her 16 Rod and PC Willie, they can now pit for these soft tyres and they could be a threat later on in the race. Twosome as well, you suspect he will also pit for softs. Maybe Alberto as well. It'd be interesting to see what the medium tyre runners do. We might see everybody pit, to be honest. Depends, what do they favour? Do they want track position? Yeah. So Mr. BT wants track position. He's not pitting. And in fact, none of the lead... Oh, Smalley is pitting. So Smalley has decided to pit while the rest of the leading group stay out. Interesting. That's not a sort of strategy you'd expect to see from a championship leader. That's very aggressive. Maybe he didn't quite like the feel of those mediums, but yeah, he's taking the aggressive strategy. Mr. BT leads the way then. Luca 2nd, Leroy 3rd, Sick Boy 4th. Her 16 Rod in 5th place on brand new soft tyres. He's suddenly put himself right into contention, but of course, do not forget he has that 5-second penalty to be added to his race time. So I will keep that in mind when it comes down to the final classification. Ramazan in 6th, PC Willie rejoins in 7th, Alberto in 8th. Smalley actually lost a position, I believe, to Alberto during that pit stop phase, so he's down to 9th. Wrench 10th, Twosome 11th. And then Mersey, Bow and Raggy complete the 14 drivers that are still left in this race. Let's have a quick look then at penalties. So yeah, so everyone's got 3 seconds apart from Alberto, who has 6 seconds. And of course her 16 Rod has a 5 seconds as well. So right now you have to say it's a tough one to call, this one. It's very intriguing just because of the situation of the tyres and everything else, but you'd have to say it'd probably maybe PC Willie's in a good position down in 7th, no penalties to his name on the soft tyres. Smalley could still be in a good position. But of course, if you're going by just track position at the moment, Luca and Leroy are still very much in the game. It's just going to be a case of seeing how they can defend against the drivers on the quicker tyres. It's going to be a fascinating race once this restarts. You really don't know which way this is going to go. It's why we love racing so much. On lap 22, like I said, our soft tyres should be fine to get to the end. The safety car phase will help them out tremendously. And as well, what will be crucial when we get back underway, I swear Mr. BT nearly hit the safety car there. That was awfully close. Got to be careful. Doesn't really need to run that close to it, to be honest with you. So, yeah, taking a very unnecessary risk there. And of course, if you hit the safety car, pretty sure you get disqualified. So, that's something you want to do. Look how, again, that's super close to the Mercedes safety car. I feel like Mr. BT is going to be on the radio soon. Maybe he's wanting the safety car to speed up a bit. I'm not sure we're going to see a safety car in this lap yet because Raggy is still catching up to the group of cars. So for that reason, I think we're going to have another lap under safety car conditions, which again is probably only good news for the soft tyre runners. So much to look out for this restart. Smalley down in 9th. Like I said, he was the only one of that leading group to take the gamble to do a second stop, go on the soft tyres, but effectively track position is what he's lost out on. Sick Boy in 4th now, and he's kind of been playing catch up to the leading group throughout the race, but of course now a safety car brings him into play. And not really mentioned her 16 rod during the race, but like I say, he's banging play now. It's just going to come down to how much his penalty from the last race impacts on his result. Right now, calling a winner is impossible, and I'm certainly not going to try and do it because I've already cursed one driver this evening. I'm quite happy to leave it at just a 1. Raggy now has caught up, so I suspect we'll see the safety car in at the end of this lap. So give the drivers 13 laps of racing to decide the winner of the F7 Austrian Grand Prix. What we don't know at the moment as well is how many drivers that haven't got a penalty at the moment are currently on 2 warnings and a whisker away from getting a penalty as well. So this could all very much turn around as Mr. BT tries to warm up his tyres, leaves the safety car well behind. And it's all going to be about when he plants the throttle. When he decides to put his foot down and lead this restart away. He wants to try and catch Luca out if he can. But Luca will be bang on it still. Not gone yet. Let's see when he... Oh, here we go. He's absolutely floored it now. And it doesn't look like he's actually got the desired result that he wanted. Luca bang there with him as we get back underway here at the Austrian Grand Prix in F7. Let's find out what happens at this restart. Mr. BT leading him away nicely. We've got Sick Boy just behind Leroy. Oh, and Leroy runs a bit wide there through turn 1. That's going to give all the incentive to Sick Boy as we go towards turn 3. Of course, the ice not activated for a few laps yet under racing speeds, and that will... Oh, and again Leroy just struggling with the rear end of his car. Maybe he didn't do as good of a warm-up under the safety car as he would have wanted, but he's managed to keep it under control and keep the position for now. Further down, Smalley still in P9. Looks like Mosey has been overtaken by Raggy on the restart. What I'm really sort of perplexed as to why Mosey didn't change tyres. He's on 11 lap all mediums. They're going to be pretty useless down in 14th, but maybe he knows something we don't. As there we go. So around the first lap after the restart, still Mr. BT leading away. Luca in 2nd, Leroy 3rd, Sick Boy in 4th. Her 16 rod completing the top 5 right now. All leading very much in a sort of train effect. And we've got... Oh, and look at that. Wrench is out of the race. He's had a crash out of turn 1. And we've got a virtual safety car. We haven't got a full safety car. We've got a virtual. So everyone's have to adhere to the delta. Gutting end to the race for Wrench. That's not what he would have wanted at all. The driver 3rd place in the championship. That's his first DNF, would you believe it, of the season. He didn't start the first race, and then every other race between then, he's finished between 3rd and 5th place. So not at all for Wrench what he would have wanted. Didn't quite catch what happened to him, but looks like he had some sort of incident at the exit of turn 1 that has sent him sadly out of the race. And we'll have to go wait for the virtual safety car to end now. Hopefully no drivers get caught out by it. There's quite a gap that's appeared between Leroy and the top 2, so don't know what's happening there. It should close back up before virtual safety car ends. Look how close Luca is to Mr. BT. He does not want to miss out on his restart, that's for sure. Still, this is a very long virtual safety car, I have to say. And there we go, we're back underway, and Mr. BT very much nailed that restart, but I'll tell you who didn't, is Leroy. He's already lost a place to Sick Boy. Leroy caught napping at the restart. He'd already lost a bit of ground to the cars behind him, and now he's having to defend from both Mercedes. Oh, and look, that's a collision, and they're into the wall! And it's all gone wrong for Leroy and her 16 rod. The Mercedes on the outside line. And it just basically like the two cars got stuck together, and there was only one outcome after that. I'm sure there'll be different arguments. Maybe Leroy felt like he was ahead. Maybe her 16 rod felt that he had to be given more space. Wouldn't be surprised if that's one that we see in the steward's office. But that's a real shame for the pair of them, both in very strong positions. And not at all what they wanted. Shame that collision happened. Like I said, they were both running in very good positions. That's put Ramazan up to 4th place now. As Luca goes for the race lead, the DRS activated of course now, so these two have sort of built up a bit of a margin over Sick Boy behind them, which is good news for them being on the slower tyres. And here we go, Luca right in the slipstream of the Alpine. Is he going to go for the move? Ooh, maybe a slightly late move there for Mr. BT. Luca did well to react to it. Has to stay behind for now, but was super close to a collision there. Smalley up to 7th now, but not making that much progress, it has to be said, in the restart thus far. Yeah, Leroy and her 16 rod, they'll be gutted about that. I don't think the Mercedes got damage, you know, which may mean that a points finish is still possible. Smalley now has a penalty. I know he didn't have one before now, but I think Ramazan or Bo also has collected a penalty in the meantime too, so that's their race slightly affected. Luca effectively doesn't really need to pass Mr. BT in regards to the result, but he might just think he's got a bit more pace to pull away as he goes down the inside into turn 3. And Mr. BT doesn't fight him off, but I tell you what, he may get a great run to potentially get the Haas driver back. This is superb battling for the race lead. Down towards turn 4 where we saw a collision just a few moments ago. There was a tiny bit of contact there, but Luca has a bit more momentum out the corner and Luca into the lead. But the problem they've got now is that this battling has effectively allowed Sick Boy and PC Willie to catch up. Make it a 4-car train in front. It's all closing up at the front, which is not what those on the medium tyres really want to happen. Oh, Mr. BT for his troubles has also just got a 2nd penalty. That's really not what he wanted. That's going to make a huge difference to his race result. And right now it's Luca and PC Willie who are in the best possible positions right now to win this race. Mr. BT will try and fight back against Luca towards turn 3. Is it going to be a opposite to what happened on the last lap? It looks like it is. Oh, but that's really nicely positioned of a car from the Alpine driver, basically meaning that Luca couldn't get on the power that early to fight back. But will it make a difference? Look at the speed difference. and he's just going to get him straight back down the inside. I don't think Mr. BT can do much to stop this. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. But there isn't much he can do, and look at that Sick Boy getting involved now, and he takes P2. Oh, and is he going to try and go for the lead? Oh, no, Mr. BT's fallen back, and he's gone round, and he's taken PC Willie with him. The Red Bull driver going off the circuit gets a penalty, as does Luca. Oh, Luca gets his first penalty. That's unrelated to the incident, but it all went wrong for Mr. BT. He wanted to fight back against a Mercedes driver, and it sadly ended all wrong. He's got some front wing damage, I think I can tell there by the looks of it. Oh, and it's just got a bit messy out front, it has to be said. We've got another yellow flag into us. Mr. BT recovering. Got PC Willie in the pit lane after his contact. Alberto there now, down the inside. He's gone past Ramazan up into the podium places, so it's a Haas 1-3 at the moment. Oh, and look at that Sick Boy going down the inside for the race lead out of nowhere. He's suddenly battling for the lead of this race. Would not have seen that coming a few moments ago, but no, the Haas is coming back, and Alberto's going to try and make it free wide into turn 4. Oh, surely there's going to be contact. They managed to avoid it. Smalley in the background is making a move on the AlphaTauri driver, so he's up to 4th place now as well. This race has come alive in the last 5 laps, but there's a few drivers that will be feeling they're not in the position they should be in. We've got, is that Leroy next to the pit lane? I don't know what's happening there. He's going super slowly. But Luca leads away then. We go on to lap 31 of 36. All the drivers in the top 6 have a penalty. Raggy doesn't. And I tell you what, he's only 3 seconds off the lead here. No, Alberto's gone round. I don't know if it was a touch on the back of a Haas, but nevertheless, the rear end of the car went at turn 1, whether it was through contact or just through, you know, his own mistake. But Alberto drops down to 7th, and just looked like he was about to come back into contention, he has a moment as well. It's like anyone who's near the front of this race just doesn't want to win it. Luca's still leading the way. He's got, let's have a look at the penalty situation now, actually, because that might be the best thing to look at. So yeah, you can see there, all the top 4 have 3 seconds. Bo in 5th has 6. Raggy, if he can get within 3 seconds of the race lead here, Raggy could be on for 2 wins in a row. There's no reason why not. We've got yellow flags. Alberto going slowly, I don't know. We've got a yellow flag sectors 2 and 3, and that's because that's Leroy going slowly. I assumed he'd retired or something, but no, he's still going just a lap down at the moment. Really a shame for him how his race has unfolded. Sick Boy right on the back of Luca then, and this is for position regardless of penalties because they both have 3 seconds. So Sick Boy then down the inside before they even get to turn 3. It looks like he's going to have the move done. Anyway, for Luca to fight back, it doesn't look like it. He's got to be wary of the McLaren behind him as well. And here we go then. Look at the overspeed here. Nothing Sick Boy can do. He's defending the inside line. He wants to make the Haas go all the way around the outside. Can he do it? It's still alongside each other. Sick Boy got great traction on the inside line, it has to be said. Not usually the place where you get the most traction, but Sick Boy has kept the lead. This is super close at the front of the race. Ramazan right there as well. He's kind of been in the background for most of like the battles that have gone on, but he finds himself in a strong position with just a few laps left. Sick Boy and Lucas still battling away for the lead of this one. It's super close, and Smalley now in a good position as well. Luca will want to get a great exit out of turn 1 here, not just to attack but also to make sure he isn't defending. Let's find out. Luca, oh look at the speed, and just got, well watch this from Smalley's point of view, who's looking to go around the outside. Is there really room there? I don't know, but he's going to go for it, and now I tell you what, Sick Boy's in all kinds of trouble. Honest, Luca hasn't got the DRS. They're going to go 3 wide here into turn 4. This is not advisable at all. Smalley taking a huge risk around the outside. He slots in behind while the 2 in front are still alongside each other. Through turn 5 they go. Smalley looked for 1 second like he was going to go down the inside, but I think even he knew that was only going to end in disaster. Slots in behind, and all this fighting that they're doing now means that Raggy in 6th place, who is not picked up a penalty, is as it stands on course to win this race as long as he doesn't pick up a penalty. Oh, and you saw there, massive twitch through turn 9 for Smalley. And that's put him right on the back foot. While Sick Boy going to go for it through turn 1? He's not. He's going to wait for the next DRS straight and try and make the move before turn 3 if he's got a good enough run. Ramazan past Smalley then. So Smalley, that twitch through turn 9 costing him dear as Sick Boy goes down the inside and takes the lead off Luca. But then Luca now will have the DRS to try and fight his way back down to turn 4. Look at, he must be using so much ERS to make sure there's no fighting back. From the drive behind, Sick Boy maintains the lead then. Mr. BT has left the session while still in the race. That's not too ideal if I'm honest. But Raggy will be watching all this thinking, I just need to stay slotting behind these guys and I've got to win here. He might not know though, to be fair, that the top 3 all have penalties. Because I don't think you can see that far in front. On the left hand side of his, what you'll see on the left hand side of his screen, so he may not know that the drivers in front all have penalties. But right now he's in 6th place, but in a great position to win this race as we enter the penultimate lap of proceedings here. And still, they keep fighting these guys. They don't want to give this up for 1 second, and it's great to see. Obviously, the top 4 are all equal on penalties, so they are fighting for position, which is why they're going at it hammer and tongs. Luca trying to position his car. He's got to be careful as Smalley maybe catches Ramazan slightly napping there and takes P3 back again. Oh, there's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact down the straight. That's not advisable, but they've got away with it. Smalley does have the inside line into the corner and gets 3rd place back again. Oh, this is just fraught with danger for Raggy right now. But right now he's on course to take consecutive wins after not scoring a point for the first 4 rounds. What a crazy transformation that would be. So we're about to go on to the final lap of this race. And still the final few spots on the podium are very much up for grabs here. Currently it's Sick Boy that will get 2nd and Luca 3rd. But this could all change. Look at the attempt to make sure that they can't get in each other's slipstream. Oh, that's a much better exit for the first corner for Luca. He's in a good spot here to try and take the lead of this race on the road. Can he do it? You can see Sick Boy determined to defend the inside line. Luca goes to the outside. That's a sensational move around the outside. He broke so much later, but he carried the speed and didn't lock up. And I tell you what, Sick Boy might be too far away to mount a fight back here, and he is. That is a super move around the outside of turn 3 from Luca. Daniel Ricciardo-esque, if you like, on the brakes. And that might just have earned him the 2nd spot on the podium, and fair play indeed for that. So we come round the middle section of the lap for the final time then, coming now towards turns 9 and 10. On the final lap, Raggy will win the race unless something happens around this last bit of a lap. It looks super close behind. I don't know what's going to happen, but here we go, round the final corner. Luca will take the win on the road, but it will be Raggy who wins it because of his lack of penalties. Raggy wins here in Austria. Luca takes 2nd, Sick Boy 3rd, Smalley 4th, Ramazan 5th, Bo will be in 6th. It will be... Oh, I'm just looking at a penalty situation. Yeah, that won't make a difference. Her 16 Rod will still get 7th, even with his 5-second penalty by half a tenth ahead of Alberto there. Twosome will come across the line for 9th. And wow, what an ending to that race. And what an odd situation. A driver that was 6th place on the road gets the win due to penalties. Raggy taking consecutive wins. He will be absolutely thrilled with that one. And wow, tired to get our breath back after what was an incredible race. A Williams driver throwing himself right into the championship hunt out of nowhere, really. Smalley probably won't be too disappointed. 4th place for the championship leader, continuing his record of picking up points at every round so far. He maybe might think he could have got a podium, but 8 points is a solid return for the McLaren driver. There are your results then, as confirmed. It was PC Willie who got the final points playing position. Everyone else was at least a lap down, so you know, he was looking in a good spot potentially to win that race was PC Willie at one stage, but he does still get a point for his efforts. The fastest lap was outside the top 10 for Leroy, so I don't believe that will count for anything. But what an ending to the race that was. That was superb to watch. And, you know, sometimes it's just about keeping it clean and not picking up any penalties. And Raggy's demonstrated that today with that performance. I mean, if I had to give a driver of the day today, who would I give it to? Oh, it's a tough one. There's a lot of people you could go for, really. I'm going to give it to Sick Boy, actually, who got third. I think he did a really good drive. Always, never really put his car in too many positions where it would ruin his race. Played a very good strategic race, and you know, lost out on second on the final lap. But to be fair, that move from Luca was something else. That was definitely overtaking a race, that's for sure. So for that reason, I'll give driver of the day to Sick Boy. But to be honest with you, every driver on that podium did a great drive, regardless of where they finished on the podium. So that was amazing to watch. And that really brings an end to proceedings here at the Red Bull Ring. The F7 circus continues next week. We are off to Jeddah for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. You can catch that same time, same place, 7 PM with myself next Monday. And based on what we saw here at Austria, I don't even want to think what we'll see at Jeddah, because we've seen even the best drivers in the world struggle with the chaos of that track. So will be a very interesting one to see. But until then, it's been absolutely fantastic to be back in the commentary box. A great race to commentate over. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. And until next week, I will see you later. And be sure to tune in now. F1 will have just started the top PlayStation tier, so be sure to check that out. Should be an absolutely fantastic race. And Luke will be guiding you through the coverage for that. So yeah, just get tuned into that now. Should be another great race. But from me, that's it until next week, and I'll catch you next time.